I've averaged over 40,000 a month in the first 2 months of 2025. And I did all that trading just 1 hour a day. And in this video, I'm about to share the exact 3-step blueprint that I trade every time. Plus, if you stick around till the end of this video, I'll drop my trade proof checklist right here on YouTube. So this way you never miss a high probability trade and you're done trading all within the first hour. Hey, I'm Ali Sab, and in the last 10 years, I've tried and tested multiple different strategies. I've tested things like price action, indicators, and complex trading strategies. And I've boiled it down to only 3 simple steps. Today, we'll talk through those steps, show you real examples, and equip you to put this system into action immediately. All right, so there's 2 types of checklists that we're going to need. One is the preparation checklist, and number 2 is the trade entry checklist. To start, we're going to start with the preparation checklist because everybody needs to be prepared before they actually come into the market and start trading. So many students start by waking up 10, 15 minutes before the market open, not knowing what their actual game plan is, not knowing what the daily charts look like, and then they try taking a trade. You're already in a bad state. You're letting the pre-market levels influence the decisions you're making, and you're not prepared, simply put. If you do not plan, then you plan to fail. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the preparation checklist for the night before, and we'll dive into more detail of the actual trade entry checklist that we can get through. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to have to build our watch list the night before. Okay, fairly simple. All we're doing is we're going to finviz.com and we're using my scan criteria. If you don't know it, it's on my YouTube. You can watch it again. We're going there to go through the list and build ourselves a few stocks that we can trade the day after. Okay, so at nighttime, we'll build our list of stocks that we want to look at based on the daily chart. Okay, everything that we're looking for here is based on the daily chart. This is so we can see if the daily has strength to move in a certain direction, then we're going to look at it. Then the day we want to trade, we're going to look into the closer time frames. This way we can get time frame continuity. So from the daily as well as the intraday, then we got 2 things fueling in our favor to take that trade. So once we build our checklist, then we're going to come in the pre-market and we're going to check the stocks again. This list that we have here will probably end up becoming maybe 5 or 6 stocks. If in total you had about 12 in the pre-market, that theory or those theories may no longer be valid and you might only have 5 or 6 stocks to look for. At this point, you want to go ahead and start identifying your pre-market high and your pre-market low, as well as a lot of people get this part wrong or they miss this part. You need to also identify key levels in the pre-market. Right? Why? Because, for example, if we have a stock that's doing this and goes up and is constantly doing this and then comes down and does this, right? This right here is going to be a solid level of resistance that we have to pay attention to. But also, this is the pre-market high, right? Same thing with here. That's going to be a pre-market low, but this also might be an area of support that we might want to take into consideration as well. Right? So mark your levels in the pre-market, and you should already have your daily levels from the night before when you did your scan. Once we've identified all this, then we're going to look at the checklist before we take the trade. All right. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. So the preparation kind of fuels you to get you ready and what to do when the market opens, so you're not sitting there kind of twiddling your thumbs, jumping at everything that's moving. Right? Have a game plan, trade that game plan, and move forward. Now, the trade entry game plan, this is very vital, okay? If you didn't do any preparation, at least you should follow this, right? And it's fairly easy. The key thing we're looking at here, if we're looking to enter a trade, what's overhead, okay? Now, remember, from the preparation, we created our pre-market highs, we created our resistance points, and we want to see what's overhead, okay? So, for example, if we have a stock that's coming into pre-market high, we want to see a pattern form at this level, and then we want to see it break out before we take this trade. And I'll zoom in here in a second and I'll show you, but we want to see what's overhead. The reason for that is because we can see that this is our pre-market level, and from here to the next level of resistance, we have a good enough chunk of area to move into. If you're trading options, the move you're really looking for is about 0.6% on the underlying, right? That way, your option contract could move anywhere from 20 to 100%, depending on what day of the week it is and what expiries you choose. But we want to make sure that once we get above this level, there isn't anything else in the way for a good distance, at least 0.6%, so we can take advantage of the move, right? So what's overhead? This is very important. We need to check. Obviously, if you're on the bullish side, what's overhead? And if you're on the moving, looking for the downside, what's below? So step number 2 here, is there a pattern, right? So in this case, yes, right? We have this bull flag kind of forming right here. And we're also at an area of resistance, right? Now, the key thing we're going to look for here is number 3. Is there volume? Did the candle close? All right. So when we're looking at this, when we're looking to enter this trade here, guys, you have to identify a few key things. Okay. This is our level of resistance that we've drawn, this red line. The key thing we're looking for here is that this candle right here needs to close above our level of resistance. And not only that, we also want to see a volume spike. Now, what does that look like? Okay. So when we have a pattern like a bull flag pattern here, what we're going to be looking for is on this move up, the volume should be increasing. And on the consolidation, the volume should be decreasing. And on the breakout here, the volume should spike significantly. And the key thing we're looking for here is that this candle's volume is above the last few average, right? So you can take the average of the last few candles, and if this volume is above it, then you have an increase in volume, you have a candle close, and that is when you take the trade, okay? So to put it back in perspective, we want to always measure out what's overhead. Is there a pattern? In this case, yes. Is there volume? Yes. And did the candle close over our level, right? So once we have a yes to all 3 of these, that's when you want to enter the trade, okay? Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's just 3 things you're looking for. But those are key vital things, right? Remember, we did the homework before. We know that the daily has upside buying pressure, right? The daily maybe just gotten above a key level of resistance, and we're now penetrating through this resistance. So we have room until the next resistance point, for example, could be up here, right? So the daily watch list that we create allows us to say, hey, this stock is breaking out of resistance, has room on the daily to move up. So when we're looking at the 2-minute time frame, now we're looking for bullish setups to get that multi-time frame continuity, right? Now we have a move up into resistance with the bull flag. Pattern is setting up. Volume profile on this looks good. Candle breaks out, closes above resistance, and the volume spikes. You have your checklist ticked off. You take this trade. Your stops are right below this level. That is your entry right here. And you ride this momentum right to that next level. Remember, a lot of traders jump into trades too early or out of FOMO. The reason why we build this checklist, the reason why every trader should have a checklist is 1, to prevent FOMO, to prevent chasing, and to make sure that you have a sound reason to enter and know where you have to exit. Because by not having a game plan, a lot of traders will enter the trade not knowing where the trade goes wrong, so they get left holding the bag or not knowing when to sell. Or sometimes, worst case scenario, they continue adding to that position. When you have a game plan like this, you know your entry and you know your exit, you know exactly what you're doing, and that's going to position you in a place where nothing at all and you're awful at pattern recognition. At least you know when to exit. And if you want your own trade-proof checklist with every step, rule, and exact visual references, then you can grab it for free down below. The link is in the description. All you got to do is click and go ahead and start watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. And if you have any questions, drop them down below. I answer every comment. I also trade live every morning with my mentorship students, and you can be a part of that too. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.